I caught my girlfriend talking to a work colleague on her phone, and I know it can only lead to problems because then I found a rose, one single rose sitting in her front seat of her car, and guess what? I didn't give it to her.
Alright guys, I've been a long time lurker here, and honestly I never thought I'd be the guy making a post asking for advice, but life has a way of taking you by surprise. Strap in, it's gonna be a heck of a ride. It all started 2 Sundays ago with my girlfriend Emily and I enjoying a peaceful morning, with the lazy sun filtering through the curtains and the little hum of our favorite lo-fi playlist coming from my Spotify. She had stepped out for a solo yoga session at the nearby park, leaving me to battle the laundry mountain of my own. While sorting out the clothes, her phone, which was charging on our bedside table, buzzed and buzzed and buzzed. Normally, I would just ignore it, but it kept going off. Figuring it was her mom or maybe an alarm, I picked it up. A stream of messages from Mike W. flashed across the screen. And now before you jump to conclusions, let me explain. Emily and I have been together for 3 years. We've weathered long-distance job changes and even a brief breakup. We've seen it all. Or so I thought. In all this time, I've never once felt the urge to go through her phone, but that Sunday, something felt a bit off. I know I shouldn't have, but the temptation got to me, and I found myself scrolling through their conversation. The initial texts were harmless, inside jokes from work, memes, casual banter. However, as I scrolled further back, the tone shifted. There was subtle flirting, compliments, and more alarmingly, a lot of questions about Mike's personal life. Emily kept probing about this weekend's plans and seemed particularly keen to know if any girls were involved. Well, this was unsettling. Curious to gain more context, I switched to a chat with her close friend Sarah. There it was. A message from Emily asking about Mike's relationship status and expressing that she found him, quote, kind of hot. My heart raced. My thoughts swirled. Was she interested in him? Kind of hot. Was our relationship not enough? I placed her phone back, feeling guilty and confused, and the weight of what I've just read settled heavily on my chest. Was I being paranoid? Yeah, maybe. Were these just harmless work-related texts blown out of proportion in my mind? Small talk? But then why ask Sarah about Mike's dating life? Well, Emily returned, her face radiant post-yoga, but I hardly noticed. She sensed my mood shift, asking if something was wrong. I brushed it off, telling her about a minor work issue. Over the next week, I became more observant, and Emily would be more hushed while texting, sometimes tilting her phone away even. Maybe, I don't know, my heightened paranoia, but these small acts just began to seem suspicious. I decided to talk to my best friend Jake about it. Jake's the kind of friend who does not sugarcoat things. He listened intently, taking long sips of his beer before responding like, "Ugh, man, communication's key. You've got to talk to her, but also accept you breached your trust by snooping." I knew he was right, but the thoughts of confronting Emily, of possibly uncovering something more sinister, terrified me. So here I am, at a crossroads. I mean, I love Emily, I really do, and the thought of losing her is unbearable, but these text messages, these doubts, they're eating at me. I'm planning to talk to her tonight. I'll update you all once we've had our chat. Any advice or perspective is much appreciated. Thanks, guys. Comments from the first post. Comment number 1. Hey, I've been in a somewhat similar situation before. First, take a deep breath. It's essential to approach this calmly and rationally. It's clear you love Emily, but you've also breached her trust, just like your friend says. Before you even bring up the Mike situation, acknowledge and apologize for snooping. Let her know what led you to it without making it sound like an excuse. About Mike, it's essential to express your feelings without sounding confrontational. Maybe she has a reasonable explanation, or perhaps there's more to it. Either way, communication will be your best friend here. All the best. Comment number 2. Dude, red flag, all over. If you've never felt the need to snoop before and suddenly her behavior with this Mike guy gave you those vibes, there might be something more to it. Your gut feeling is there for a reason. However, don't just jump to an accusation. Ask open-ended questions. Let her fill in the blanks and be prepared for any answer. Even if it's not what you want to hear, stay strong. Update number 1. Hey everyone, OP here. First, I want to thank you for the advice and perspective 2 weeks ago. It meant a lot to have so many strangers rally around and offer their insights. I've taken my time before updating because, well, things just got a lot more complicated. After reading all your comments, I decided to keep an open eye, but also give Emily the benefit of the doubt. Relationships are built on trust, after all, and while I was hurt and confused, I was not ready to give up on 3 years over a few suspected texts. So, I waited, watched, and tried my best to be understanding, so fast forward to yesterday. Emily called me from the grocery store asking if I could come out and help bring in the bags, and when I approached the car, the first thing I noticed was not the plethora of grocery bags, but a single fresh rose lying delicately on the passenger seat. My heart was racing, and the threads of trust I've been clinging to felt like they were unraveling. A myriad of thoughts flooded my mind. Was this from Mike? A secret admirer? Or something innocent I was blowing out of proportion again? Taking a deep breath, I decided to shelve those thoughts for later and grabbed the groceries and went inside. Dinner was quite the affair. We chatted about our day, the weather, the new movie that was out, but that rose was just sitting there, weighing on my mind. And every passing minute made it harder to keep the question at bay, and wanting to keep things light, I chose a playful approach. Hey babe, I noticed a little cute rose in your front seat getting the groceries. You don't have some secret boyfriend you're not telling me about, do you? I tried to laugh it off, hoping she'd join in, but her reaction was unexpected. Instead of the usual laughter or a teasing retort like, heck yeah, I do, she went silent. Her face lost its color and she stuttered over her words. It's something from work. You know, a work event with flowers. They were just handing them out. Her voice was barely audible, and alarm bells rang in my head. The Emily I knew was never this bad at lying. The air grew heavy and the room felt small, and dinner ended up with an uncomfortable silence. I went to our room and Emily said that she would clean up. Late into the night, I heard her talking on the phone, trying not to eavesdrop. I only caught snippets, but one line stood out. I can't keep doing this, it's not right. Sleep eluded me and my mind swirled with the thoughts of Mike, the rose, and the phone call, but then about 3 a.m. an unexpected twist. I heard the soft chime of Emily's phone, right there on the nightstand, lighting up our dark room. Mike. Hey. I'm worried about Sarah. She seems so off today. Did she talk to you? My brows furrowed and, well, Sarah and Emily's close friend and coworker. How does she fit into this? Morning came, and with it more questions than answers, and I realized that there's much more to this story than I initially thought. And perhaps Mike is not the central character in this narrative. Maybe Sarah is. I'm left pondering my next move. The mystery deepens, and my heart aches, and I'll keep you all updated when I have more clarity about what's going on. Comment number 1 from the first update. OP, you're in a tough spot, man, but let's not jump to conclusions just yet. From the messages you saw from Mike, it looks like there's something going on with Sarah, and perhaps Emily's involved in the situation rather than some affair or crush. My advice: talk to Emily directly, express your concerns, and let her know how her actions are making you feel. Ask about Sarah, do it. It might not be what you're thinking. Remember, jumping to conclusions without concrete evidence can be more damaging than helpful. Comment number 2. Alright, here's my 2 cents. You've got every reason to be suspicious, and, I don't know, hidden rows, shady text, late night phone calls, big red flags, but I've been on the wrong side of assumptions before, and it is not pretty. Before you decide anything, get your facts straight. Maybe consider speaking to Sarah too. She might have insights Emily is not sharing, and if things do turn out to be innocent, you'll need to address your trust issues and privacy boundaries. Stay sharp. Good luck. Update number 2. Hey again. The past few days, well, It's been nothing but short of a whirlwind, and I'm here sleep-deprived and absolutely heartbroken. To fill you guys in, I want to thank those who have stuck with me throughout this saga. 5 days after my last update, another incident shook me to the core. As I approached Emily's car to grab something from the glove box, guess what I saw? An eerily familiar sight, a fresh red rose right there on the passenger seat. The image of the first one, the ambiguous text, Emily's suspicious behavior crashed over me like waves, and in that moment I lost all sense of rationale. I stormed into the house, the rose clutched tightly in my hand. Without thinking, I flung it onto the living room floor, petals scattering and my voice dripped with bitterness. So, another little work event, huh? Handing out these expensive fleeting tokens of affection to all around. When are you finally going to come clean about Mike? Emily looked taken back with her eyes widened in shock, and then to my surprise, tears streamed down her face. I felt a bit of guilt, but that was also consumed by anger and hurt to console her. She tried to keep the secret inside, but I pressed on needing answers. Is it Mike? I pleaded with my voice trembling. Are you two seeing each other? Emily looked up, her tears replaced by fury. How could you? How could you ever think I'd betray you? After all we've been through, you really believe I'd sneak around your back? The tension cut it with a knife. But then Emily took a deep breath and the truth spilled out like a damn bursting dam. It's not me and Mike, idiot. It's Sarah. Sarah and Mike have been having an affair for months. She's been giving me the roses, pleading with me to keep her secret, to understand her feelings for him. I was floored. The weight of my accusations, the gravity of it all hit me like a ton of bricks. Emily has been placed in an impossible position, torn between loyalty to her friend and strain it put on our relationship. Visibly upset, Emily gathered some of her belongings. I can't believe I had to reveal a secret I swore to protect. I need some time away from all this. She left for her parents' house shortly after, leaving me alone with my guilt, regret, and a house full of remnants of our shattered trust. It's clear, I've made a grave mistake, and now I have to face the consequences of my actions. Thank everybody for your support and advice. I'll update you when I have more news. Comment number 1. Dang, OP. It's easy for us outsiders to say you jumped the gun, but in your shoes, who knows what we would have done? Hindsight's 20/20. The best thing now is to apologize, not just for accusing Emily, but for breaking her trust. She was put in a tough spot protecting her friend's secret, which in hindsight was a bad move on her part, but we all make mistakes. Take this time to reflect and grow, and if you both decide to move forward, consider couples therapy. It can really help mend and strengthen what's been broken. Comment number 2. I get it. Everyone's human and emotions can run wild, but OP, you need to realize that trust is the foundation of any strong relationship. Accusing Emily without proper evidence just shattered that. Even though Emily was keeping Sarah's secret, she deserved the benefit of the doubt. This is a tough lesson, but hopefully both of you can grow from it. If you guys decide to continue the relationship, consider being more open with each other and avoiding keeping secrets no matter the intent. Update number 3. It's been 2 weeks since that heart-wrenching revelation about Sarah and Mike, and every day since she has felt an agonizing eternity of her leaving. Emily's silence has been deafening. I tried calling, texting, even showing up at her parents' house in a bid to reconcile. Her father, though, met me at the door with a stern look, stating firmly that Emily was not ready to speak. Amidst the frustration, isolation, and sleepless nights, I did something that I can't defend. It was a fit of rage, impulsivity. I found Sarah's husband on Facebook. I did. Feeling like Emily was being unfairly punished for her loyalty to her friend, I wanted someone else to share in the blame and understand the weight of the secret. I told him everything. The roses, the affair, the painful truths that tore my relationship apart, everything. The aftermath was something straight out of a melodramatic soap opera. Within hours of my messages, Sarah's husband, red-faced and livid, stormed their workplace. Before anybody could comprehend what was happening, he lunged at Mike, landing a punch square in the face and dragged him by the collar into the boss's office, screaming accusations, demanding justice. The office was plunged into chaos. When the dust settled, the repercussions were swift and devastating. The manager, citing a need for professional integrity and a safe working environment, decided to let them all go. Mike, Sarah, and Emily, blaming them for creating an intolerable workplace situation. I realized the magnitude of my mistake now. By trying to shift blame, I inadvertently brought even more pain and misfortune upon Emily, who had already been through so much. I've effectively wrecked her professional life over a personal vendetta. As I type this, I dread the moment Emily found out that I was the catalyst for this disaster. I've not only ruined our relationship, but have now cast a shadow on her career as well. I'm filled with shame and regret. Anyways, to those of you who have followed the story from the start, thank you for the guidance. I can only hope for a change to right these wrongs, though I'm unsure if redemption's even possible. I'll update you on any more developments. Comment number 1 from the updates. I'll be the first to say, I've made some colossal mistakes in my past relationships, and reading your story hits close to home. Your intentions might have come from a place of hurt and wanting justice, but the outcome was disastrous, man. At this point, give Emily the space that she needs. Understand that trust once broken can take a very long time to mend, if at all. Whatever you do next, make sure that it's with thought, care, and a bit of empathy. Comment number 2. Man, you really messed up. You let your emotions dictate your actions without thinking of the ripple effect. While Emily was trying to protect her friend, you retaliated and ended up causing a whirlwind of trouble for everybody involved. You need to make amends, and not just by apologizing. Consider talking to the manager about your role in the chaos, and see if you can help Emily find another job. It's time to step up and make things right as much as you can. Update number 4. When I posted this, the atmosphere was very thick, and the regret and weight of my actions was heavy. The pain, tangible. I'd never felt so isolated in my entire life, so lost. My last update, left me in a dark place, drowning in guilt over the mayhem my impulsive decisions have caused. But life, it seems, has an uncanny way of taking unforeseen turns. The very next day, I was awoken by a knock on the front door. There she was, Emily, with the tear-streaked cheeks and weariness in her eyes I'd never seen before. I'd been bracing for her return, expecting a storm of accusations and anger, yet somehow she was unaware of my involvement in the explosive incident at her workplace. She poured out her heart, detailing the aftermath of that ill-fated day, and her voice trembled as she recounted the scene of Sarah's husband confronting Mike. The horrified expression of her colleagues, and the deafening silence that followed. Mike, she said, was nursing a broken nose and ego, and decided it's finally time for him to chase his dream in California, setting up his gym business that he'd always spoken of. Sarah, crushed under the weight of her choice and the public revelation, was filing for divorce. The fallout from that day was catastrophic, and as Emily shared the painful events, I held her, trying to absorb and share a bit of her pain. As we sat on the couch, I tried offering consolation. "We have each other," I said, kissing her forehead. "We've built up our savings. We can cover the bills until you find something, honey." As the words left my mouth, a sharp bit of guilt coursed through me. Every comforting word felt like a stab of betrayal, knowing that I was the reason for this current plight. Emily, with her characteristic resilience, did not dwell on the past for too long, and in a turn of events that can only be described as serendipity, she was offered a new job just a few weeks later. Not just any job, but a position she'd always dreamt of, with a salary that dwarfed her previous one. Our lives transformed rapidly after that, with our combined income allowing us to move into a spacious apartment in a prime part of the city. We now had a balcony with a view of the city skyline, and we indulged in luxuries that we'd previously only dreamt about. Weekend getaways, dining at the city's finest restaurants, and even planning overseas trips. One evening, As we sat at the plush sofa, sipping on wine, Emily turned to me with her eyes shimmering in the candlelight, saying, "You know, with everything that's happened, there's one thing I've realized. We can't have secrets between us. Like the whole mess with Sarah and Mike, secrets only bring pain." My heart raced. The weight of my unconfessed sin pressed down on me, and I wanted to blurt out the truth right there, come clean, to seek her forgiveness, but the words were stuck in my throat. How could I shatter this newfound peace? How could I confess that I was responsible for upending her world? But was it right to keep this from her? Every secret, no matter how deep it's buried, has a way of clawing its way back to the surface. With Emily's words echoing in my mind, I found myself at a crossroads. As I type this, I grapple with the moral dilemma that now defines my relationship. Do I risk shattering the happiness that we found to lay bare of the truth? Oh, or do I bury it, hoping it remains hidden forever? Thank you for following my story this far. Your advice and support means more than you could ever imagine. I'll update you guys on my next final steps. Comments? Number 1. Well, I get where everyone's coming from, the whole honesty thing. Consider the large picture here, man. Emily's already been through an emotional ride, and revealing your part in it makes, well, more harm than good. Sometimes protecting our loved ones from the unnecessary pain can be a form of love too. You'll have to weigh the potential damage of revealing the truth against the weight of your own guilt. Comment number 2. Man, this is rough. I've been in a similar situation where revealing the truth seemed impossible, but let me tell you from experience, secrets have a way of coming out, often at the worst possible time. Maybe she can consider going to couples therapy where you guys can break this to her in a controlled environment. That way both of you can get the support you need regardless of how she reacts. Whatever you decide, remember that true love is understanding, forgiving, and resilient. Final update. Hey guys. It's been 6 months since my last update. Things seem to have been going well for Emily and me, but as fate would have it, one night changed everything. We were at a close friend's party, the atmosphere was light, and the drinks were flowing a bit, generously. As the night wore on, somebody introduced a drinking game. The rules were simple. Draw a card, do what it says, or face a hefty drinking penalty. It was all fun and games until I drew the one card that said, reveal your biggest secret or drink 6 beers. I paused, the weight of my hidden truth pressing down on me, and the room became a little hazy from the alcohol and gravity of the situation. There was a bit of expectation in the air. After what felt like an eternity, the combination of alcohol and pressure pushed me to an answer. I laughed and basically said, "Ugh, well, babe, I guess it has to be when I was the one who exposed that whole affair thing at your old work and got everyone fired. Crazy, right?" I immediately wished I could take back those words. The room went silent, save for the distant hum of the music, and Emily's face drained of color, her eyes reflecting a mixture of shock, betrayal, you name it. Without a word, she slapped me. Hard. Her promise ring, the one that we've bought as a symbol of our commitment and future together, was thrown to the ground, shattering. She stormed out, leaving me in a room full of friends who suddenly seemed like strangers. It's been 3 weeks since that night, and Emily has gone radio silent. No calls, no text, no responses to my desperate attempts to reach out. I can't blame her. The weight of my actions and my failures to confess earlier hangs heavy on my heart. I've been reflecting a lot, guys, thinking about trust, honesty, and the price of a secret. I can't change the past, but I'm seeking advice, trying to figure out how to move forward, how to rebuild, or if it's even possible. So guys, I ask you this. Am I the a-hole for exposing her work friend affair and then exposing my secret at the party?
So I want to know your opinion on this one in the comment section down below, because there was some split opinions in the comment section. Some of the people were saying, OP, you should have kept your mouth shut and kept this secret buried deep down within you so you never ever exposed this to her. A lot of people were also saying, hey, you should have told her a long time ago and she might not have reacted in this way. So I do want to hear from you guys. How would you perceive it? What would you do? Say if you were in OP's position and you find out all this information about the rose, the colleague, the cheating, the disposal of the 3 jobs, everything. Let me hear it. Drop your comments down below. My name's Mr. Reddito. I narrate stories every day. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Remember, it's cool to be kind. See ya.